Hi, I'm Amy McLean, Editorial Director of Cable Facts, and I'm joined today by editors Noah Ziegler and John Saavedra. And we're just going to talk about what's going on. And right now, everybody is trying to get forget Ozempic, they're trying to get as big as possible, right?
Oh man, what a line! Just want to start with that.
I was
That
gonna
was
say,
great.
hats off.
That was a good line. Good line. We're
So,
done here. Let's just publish. That's
who
it.
needs anything more, right? But apparently Paramount needs a lot. Paramount Skydance. Is that what we're calling them these days? Paramount Skydance?
So I'm very confused about that because we've called it New Paramount. We've just called it Paramount. We've called it Paramount Skydance. We clearly haven't figured out our style guide for how we're calling this. I like Paramount Skydance.
I think so for now, because it soon could be Paramount Skydance, Warner Brothers Discovery, which just rolls off the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
WBD, right? Yeah, I have no idea what that company would be called. But what a riveting possibility that is. Shocking that it popped up so soon after the merger.
Well, I know that there have been a lot of investor conferences this week, and David Zaslav was speaking. Any big takeaways that, with this idea that possibly Paramount, well, it sounds like Paramount is working on a bid, but I think we're a long way away from anything coming to fruition. And I imagine there will be other people who want to jump in as well. But anything you heard on those calls that maybe, particularly from David, I mean, it seems like he loves HBO Max and the streaming side and the studio side.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird, like, because now it just feels a little dated, right? Because of this bid, it's like I don't know if this is actually going to happen. So the big headline was he expects the split to happen in April. He's very bullish on HBO Max, HBO growing as a global brand through HBO Max launching internationally. It's launched in Australia. I think it's launching in Germany and some other European markets. But his whole thing at this conference was, let's make HBO bigger, right? Like quality, partnering with local players in those markets to bundle with HBO Max, being a big tech player in those markets. It was very much how can we make HBO bigger? We're in the process of doing that. But on the other side, he also painted the vision for Discovery Global, which is going to have all the linear assets. The big focus there is, how do we make CNN bigger? How do we make that the global brand the news global brand akin to what HBO is doing on the entertainment side? And they're launching a streaming product, I believe, in the fall. And he teased there are other products that they're looking at, including one that would launch internationally, just like HBO Max is doing in those markets. But then he also asked, what does the future of Food Network look like? He mentioned HGTV. He mentioned TNT Sports and the DTC product that's been teased from last week's investors calls. Mm-hmm. So it's just all, it's very interesting to see how this is all going to work out. And obviously, he painted a very hopeful picture of how these brands can continue to grow separately, obviously. But yeah, it just all feels a little weird now because of the Paramount bid.
Kind of seems where everyone's throwing everything against the wall, it feels like right now. And on the sports side, that could be interesting because with Warner Brothers Discovery losing some of their sports assets, if they were to combine with like a Paramount, that certainly could prove a lot. I don't know. Yeah. It's a lot to digest, right?
Yeah, Noah, you can speak to this, but just like what CBS Sports going to look like with TNT's portfolio? Like they have UFC now. Like holy moly!
Well, that's exactly it. It's you're combining. I was about to say NBA, but no longer they will have, or Warner Brothers will not have the NBA. So you have Champions League assets. You do well. Let me go to the other football first because that's king here. You have NFL assets. You have MLB. You're covering a lot of stuff if you do combine those two. I do think it was interesting that Wall Street Journal's report, as it kind of kept developing, that it was phrased as an Ellison-backed bid, and it sounds like this is coming from more of the Ellison family, which. I guess you're welcome to the show type of situation for them. But we've always, John, we've joked about this because of their soccer properties. We've always thought about Paramount Plus and Peacock being kind of a very similar. But who would have thought maybe Paramount Plus and HBO Max find a way? Or Amy, you mentioned Pluto being a property that isn't going to get forgotten about, and it'll be really interesting to see how these next few weeks and months kind of unravel. Especially again, it's had so much of this talk about the split and so much work being put toward it. Zaslav put a date on it, felt like everything was all right. We're going, no matter how weird it is, we're going forward. And then, damn, that actually who knows if that's going to happen, but that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah. I mean,
or not.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned the Pluto TV thing, and I think that in itself is fascinating, right? Like Ellison taking the completely different approach with Paramount while, WBD and NBC Universal are splitting. Paramount's like, no, we're going to figure out how to rethink these brands, even if it is, as content creators for streaming. So I have to imagine that getting WBD sort of prestige cable linear brands also plays into that strategy as well, right? Like it makes sense to me. I don't know about you, Amy.
I don't know. I just know as a Gen Xer, I would love to see MTV as a brand again, like that. My kids don't even know what it is, right? That would be pretty cool.
Oh, really? Do the kids not know what MTV is anymore?
No. Yeah. Other than there's like that prank show, I think. Like I think that's what they would associate MTV with, for real.
Punk'd? Ashton Kutcher, right?
No, that's old. Like we're after that. There's like even
no, we're showing our age. Punk'd. What's Punk'd?
I think it's that. I hope it's that. I just know Ashton Kutcher was in it.
That was Punk'd, but there's something more recent. I can't think of what.
I think they do the challenge, right? That's their thing. Yeah.
That is their thing, but that is definitely not the show I'm thinking of. All right, we'll have to go look at it. There was a great piece a couple years ago, and maybe it's not a prank show, but I thought it was. And it was in Variety, I think, where they literally looked at MTV's schedule, and it was like for 24 hours, like 20 of the hours was just repeats of this show.
Yeah, I mean, MTV's definitely a target for Paramount. Like, how do we revitalize MTV?
And Comedy Central. I mean, gosh, I remember back when, the Fryer roasts would be on. I mean, those were just huge, and everyone watched them. They would pull huge numbers. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's such a different world. I wonder if we could ever return to that sort of real estate for those brands. But it would be really cool to see.
Did help that they had a duo of Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert before Colbert went on, but that was a pretty, powerful duo in terms of just having Comedy Central at the forefront for a decent long amount of time.
Yeah. Well, I like Trevor Noah too, but he's gone well. Yeah. But it's not just the Paramount, Skydance, Warner Brothers, whoever, Comcast maybe jumps in, but there's a lot happening on the broadcast side. They're also very much wanting to get bigger. We have Nexstar, TEGNA, which is Sinclair in the wings, right? I know you've covered that some. Any thoughts there?
They're very clearly very confident that the national ownership cap or audience cap, ownership rules, anything involved with that. They're very confident that some changes are going to be made. And it sounds like they're confident that it's going to be pretty big changes, because you hear about them adjusting the cap. You think, oh, they're going to bump it up a little bit. No, as of right now, Nexstar's acquisition of TEGNA would have them at 80%, which we're journalists, we're not math people, but that is above 39 by a lot. And Leanne Glia even said this week that they would not have made an announcement if they weren't confident. And Perry Sook has talked about how involved he's been in DC and kind of just getting the message out of what he wants and what Nexstar wants. And I feel like you can maybe put two and two together that they probably have it on good authority that they can expect to see some changes. And obviously the FCC is getting ready to dive into it more later this month at their open meeting for September. So right now, Nexstar feels confident that it'll get done. I mean, TEGNA, we'll see if they can cross the finish line this time, because in recent years it hasn't gone totally smoothly. But obviously it's been that was 2 or 3 years ago, I think 3 years ago, and it's very different right now. So it's if I was a betting man, it probably is. Nexstar's probably going to be happy with some of the changes being made.
I mean, it does certainly feel like everything's going the broadcaster's way, regulatory wise, but we do have some, wild cards. Chris Ruddy of Newsmax is very vocal against loosening these rules or changing the cap. Obviously, he's got some strong relationships with the administration. One American News has also come out against doing anything with the cap. I don't know if those will play. It's also an interesting time just for the industry, because we have a transition happening at NCTA with Michael Powell stepping down. I think we just had his party, his retirement party this week, and Corey Gardner stepping into that role. So it's a new face for people to get to know. And he's definitely got this on his plate right away. I can't see there not being some loosening. But I don't know. And I also think that the cable operators and the satellite operators, they have been doing whatever they can leading up to this moment to try to throw roadblocks down for Nexstar. I mean, dating back, maybe 5 years, we had Comcast file a complaint at the FCC against Nexstar, saying that they were doing workarounds with Mission to use WPIX to get over that 39% cap. And it's just, everyone has piled on: Charter, Altice, DirecTV, Cox. They even had the FCC under the previous administration actually fined Nexstar and Mission over that. And it said that they had to divest WPIX. But nothing has happened, because that happened and then we have a new administration, and that's also pending. So it's just, it's an interesting time, but I kind of am with you there. I feel like there's going to be at least some relaxing of media ownership rules in the cap, but then it will probably be challenged in the courts, and we'll see what happens next, right?
I was going to say, 80% does feel a little bit extreme in terms of we're going to jump from 39 to 80. That feels like there should be some sort of middle ground, but also just with anything, but especially in DC, things don't go smoothly throughout. And I know this isn't just a process that started when, back in November with the new administration, but it just feels like we're waiting for a real challenge. And as you just said, it may come when, courts step up, but it'll be interesting to see again, if that 80% number, or if they just remove the cap, which feels again, like it wouldn't happen, but it'll be interesting to see where they land.
And also Nexstar wants to be a big sports player. They've definitely made that clear, right? Gosh, such exciting times to be a Cablefax reporter.
Big weekend for the CW. They arguably have the biggest game of the weekend, which is the Miami, Florida, taking on South Florida, which has started the year 2-0 and probably the most momentum they've had. But a lot of eyeballs on that one, because Miami is a pretty good team, and South Florida obviously is really good. A lot of college football playoff implications. So good for CW. It's been a couple of years since they've tried to break into the college sports or sports game, and they've got a big one coming up this weekend.
Okay, we'll move off Nexstar, but I just also want to throw out the whole News Nation part of it, because they're obviously pushing that so hard to become a major player in the news by getting it the leverage with retrans, by getting it out there. And in fact, they have a current fight happening with Alta Fiber in Ohio, where there's a retrans blackout. I think it's in Dayton. Is that right? It's in Dayton because they want the channel in Cincinnati. Even though Nexstar has no stations there, they were just trying to get Newsmax into it. So I don't know. Nexstar is always the problem child, it feels like, on retrans. So there's a lot to watch. Speaking of things to watch, what's everybody watching on TV?
Survivor's back in a couple weeks, so that's what I've got on, and I'm still working through Sopranos, but Survivor's back, so it'll be back to reality TV or competition. I don't know what they call that. I guess reality TV, but maybe not. Either way, excited for that.
An athletic reality TV, I guess.
Yes.
I come in with the sci-fi shows. I bring the sci-fi perspective here. So obviously Alien Earth, I'm watching the Foundation season 3, which has been incredible. Just renewed for season 4. Very excited about that on Apple TV Plus. And Amy, I know we've been watching Task. Have you been watching Task? You've been watching Task. Yes, you have. Yeah. I had a lot of fun with that first episode. What did you think?
It was good. I bring the crime element usually, but I like it when it has some heart to
you
it.
bring the crimes.
Yeah.
You bring the crimes. Yeah.
Including the documentary side. That reminds. Okay, but Task is great. I definitely think I'm hooked after the first episode. Highly recommend. I don't want to spoil anything, but Mark Ruffalo is usually fantastic anyway, so I had pretty high hopes going into it. But on the crime element on Netflix, if you haven't watched, it's like the high school catfish or something like that. Unfortunately, it's like such a shock that I think it's been spoiled a lot for a lot of people on social media before you watch it. Have either of you watched that?
Is this the one with? Is it the mom who? Is it the
You're
mom
gonna
who
spoil
texted the dog? I was just repeating what I only saw. My bad.
My wife was watching it in the living room. I don't think I could stomach it. I watched maybe a couple minutes of it, and I was like, I don't think I could sit through.
I think if you don't know, and I truly didn't know, and I think if I had watched it like a day later, I wouldn't have had the same like. But since it was brand new and it hadn't been spoiled by people like Noah, I didn't know where it was going and was totally shocked.
It reminds me of an old MTV show I used to watch with my mom. It was called Awkward. It was only on for a handful of seasons, but it had that similar premise, and I won't further spoil it, but maybe the phrase I just said accidentally before I was cut off. Very similar premise, but
awesome. Well, we will be back soon, maybe on the new Skydance, Paramount, Warner Brothers, Discovery, Comcast network. I don't know, but for now.
Venue sports.
I mean, do we want to guess what that company would be named?
I didn't know Versant was a word. I don't even know if I want to try.
So Paramount and Warner. I mean, think about Paramount and Warner Brothers. I picture people in the 1930s, 1940s imagining these guys together. Such storied names. You have to keep both of those. And then, I mean, Discovery also, it's the newer player, but Discovery has some, real important, I don't know what you do with that. I don't know.
I mean, is it just
call
as simple
Skydance?
as Warner Brothers? What?
Just call it Skydance. Just say nobody wins.
That'd be erasing a lot of brands. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be like, it just like Paramount Brothers.
Brothers.
Warner Brothers did take the HBO brand off of Max for a couple years.
True. Maybe we just call it HBO. The new brand of HBO.
Brilliant.
Paramax?
Paramax.
Wait, you got to get this go. Paramax.
I honestly hate that, actually. Paramax?
No. That sounds a little futuristic.
Yeah.
All right. We'll keep thinking about this. I think they should consult with us, though, on the name, because we could help. We could come up with, I won't poke anyone out there, but there are some interesting names coming out now. So, yeah.
Can ask ChatGPT.
Yeah. We could ask ChatGPT, but we're going to come up with something better than that. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's all for me. Anybody have anything else to throw in that we should make sure folks are thinking about? So we head into October.
We still got half the month left. It's still
feels like it's gone.
Technically summer. Yeah, no, it might as well be October. I'm with you.
All right. Well, that's it for us. We'll be back with another download soon.